Hi guys, I'm going to make this really quick, or at least as quick as possible. This is a continuation of my last video, but shorter and to the point. That said, the initial Supreme Court ruling on Roe v. Wade was decided on the basis of a patient's right to privacy with her doctor, but this also extends into other areas of life, in fact, every area of life. Many other court rulings were based on this one. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, so too are the privacy rights that came with it, and that applies to everyone, everything and everyone, not just patient-doctor relations, and not just to women and girls. It will allow for the monitoring of any and all communications, online, offline, phone, etc. It will allow the state, insurance companies, and any other agency that wants your information to demand it from your doctor, whether you are male or female. It nullifies HIPAA. This applies to everyone. Also, every other court decision that came after that and was based on it or on the right to privacy can be overturned as well. And many Republican states are already threatening that very thing. There are so many people who don't understand what the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade is really meant to bring about. It has nothing to do with value for life. It allows the state to take your life, in that they can take away your privacy, your freedom, and your bodily autonomy, even if you're a man. That is what this is about. This is the goal of the fascists, who use any excuse they can in order to convince the population to allow their tyranny. In this case, they attempt to take away just about every human right from every American citizen on the initial false premise of quote-unquote saving babies. They are lying. This is a catchphrase they use in order to evoke emotion from people and trigger them into a negative response, okay? Trigger them into an attack on those who are perceived as the enemy, okay? Which would be the anti-fascist, okay? In this case, anyone who's against fascism is being demonized. And of course, they're lying. These fascists, these right-wingers don't give a damn about babies. They have no real value for life, as is made very clear by how they treat lives that are already here. In anticipation of Roe v. Wade being overturned, red states are already creating laws that would be triggered into effect as soon as it is overturned. Okay? One is to, of course, ban abortion in all cases, including the rape and incest of a child, no matter how young. They lie when they claim there is an exception to the life of the mother, because when there really is a threat to the mother's life, they simply deny it, such as in the case with the ectopic pregnancy. For those who don't know, an ectopic pregnancy cannot develop to term, and it will kill the mother if left in. In fact, you can't even call her a mother at that point, because this is not a viable pregnancy. It will never turn into a fetus. It will never become a baby. It will never be born. It will never be a child. Okay? It'll kill the mother if left in. There are Republican politicians insisting that removing of any pregnancy, including ectopic, is baby murder. And of course, they call a zygote that was conceived a week ago a baby. A full human being with human rights. But when it comes to a woman or child who is already here and is a full human being, they don't believe she is. They don't, they take all personhood from a real woman or child that is here, and instead they give it to a zygote. They have very little, if any, value for the life of the woman or girl, who they would rather let die than to remove a clump of cells that will not grow to term because it will kill her if left in. Okay, if the woman dies, there's no fetus, there's no baby, because that will die too, okay? If the zygote dies, it never turns into a fetus, it never grows into a baby. And the few red states that would allow the removal of such will only allow it if there is an imminent threat to the woman's life, meaning she has to be dying right then and there, okay? She has to be bleeding out, hemorrhaging, dying right then and there. Simply having a ticking time bomb inside of her that will kill her at some point in the future if not removed is not enough for them. They will force her to leave it inside of her until it is actively killing her right then and there. So, for example, if she goes to the ER with stomach pain and they find an ectopic pregnancy, even if it was only conceived 3 weeks ago, the doctors can't remove it under these laws, or at least under the majority of these laws. They have to wait until her tubes burst, okay, when she is literally hemorrhaging, when she's bleeding out. And at that point, it really is an immediate emergency, and she can die before help gets to her. By that point, it's in many cases, it's too late. Okay, she needs immediate medical care right then and there, and that's not always possible. They do the same when it comes to sepsis. And they care nothing if attempting to carry to term and deliver would kill a 10-year-old rape victim. This is depraved. It is perverse. It is as anti-life as anyone can get. It is sadistic. It is child torture. While some states would charge her with murder if she had it removed, even if she was raped and she conceived a week ago, they would deem her as a murderer if she had it removed. Yet they would not charge her rapist with murder if she dies because of it. If she dies because of his rape and because she's forced to carry his offspring and to term, even if both die. Okay? Even if she dies before she can even carry it to term, even when it's still just a zygote. He's not going to be charged with her murder because they don't see her life as valid. Some in Republican states have tried to get rid of age of consent for marriage, thus allowing old men to marry very young girls, which in a situation like this, where she will be denied even life-saving medical care, could be fatal. No, they care nothing for human life. This is about control. This is about subjugation, first and foremost of women, and then of men as well. This was never about protecting babies and stopping what they call abortion, since now they are also trying to ban birth control. First, they attacked the morning after pill, even if it is given at a hospital a few hours after a woman or girl is raped, to prevent, not end, pregnancy. Then they went after the birth control pill, claiming falsely that it is an abortive substance. Now they go after condoms. If they really wanted to prevent quote-unquote abortion, they wouldn't try to take away birth control, especially condoms. Okay, there's no way they can link condoms to baby killing. But see, it's not only pregnancy that is prevented by the use of condoms. Condoms also prevent the spread of disease, okay? And it isn't only heterosexual couples who use condoms, okay? These are religious fanatics who think that if you do something that their religion deems immoral, like premarital sex, then to them you deserve to die. Whether you're having heterosexual sex outside of marriage or whether you're gay, right? Of course, gay men use condoms as well to protect themselves. Understand what these fascist monsters are trying to do. This was never about saving babies. They use that as an excuse to convince the masses into going along with their tyrannical agenda, and they lie. The Supreme Court said themselves that there isn't a large enough supply of domestic supply of infants for people to adopt. Let me repeat that. A domestic supply of infants. People, they want more babies. Okay? They want more infants. They want women to breed them more infants. This is a breeding farm now. Okay? They want more infants to breed for their state. Okay? To breed them infants for their state. And also for their state-sponsored families to adopt and to groom into supporting their death cult. When they claim that they want to give the rights back to each and individual state to make their own laws and to decide what should and should not be legal in their state, they are lying. As always, they lie. Since they have threatened to make national bans, okay, that is nationwide. They want to make these bans nationwide. So when they say, oh, it's just about states' rights, no, it isn't. Okay, and we're not just talking about abortion, at which point means anything that gets in the way of natural reproduction, including in many cases life-saving medical care, but also birth control, including condoms. Yes, there are Republican politicians who have claimed they want a nationwide ban on condoms. Don't tell me they're trying to quote-unquote save babies. If they were, they wouldn't be trying to create more unwanted pregnancies. They are not pro-life. They are forced pro-birth because they need more young bodies to be used by their pedos who run the foster care system and to be adopted out to their church state-sponsored families, to be indoctrinated and groomed into accepting working for, breeding for, and fighting for a fascist theocracy based on Christian nationalism. Other rulings that the state have suggested overturning, of course, the right to birth control, the right to prevent pregnancy. Okay, prevention is not the same thing as termination. Okay, the right to marry outside of your race. There have already now been Republican senators that claimed they want to leave it up to the state to leave it up to the state to decide whether or not to allow interracial marriage. Okay, we knew that was coming. Okay, sodomy between anyone, okay, even married couples, but particularly this is directed particularly toward gay men. Marriage equality, of course, they don't want gays and lesbians to be allowed to marry, and so on. Some Republicans have also expressed a desire to end public education. Yes, I'm serious. They need the population to be uneducated and without critical thinking skills, as that is the only way to convince them to go along with Republican policy. This is right-wing fascism based on Christian nationalism. Okay? This, of course, ends Okay, so what this does in the end is it leads to Christian nationalists who know very little about the topic they are allowed to make decisions on, making medical decisions for other people. Okay? You know, these are the lunatics who deny the deadly nature of ectopic pregnancies and even claim falsely that it can be relocated to the womb. Okay, that's a lie. It can't be. They're making decisions based on these lies. Women will die because of these lies, since laws are being made based on them. And now that even in public schools that still remain, they have tried to stop all discussion of gender issues, including medical facts, okay, including basic biology. We can expect a hell of a lot of uneducated, dogma-driven lunatics who know nothing about science and medicine, killing people, especially women, with the decisions they make for them. Transgender rights are also under threat. Some states have already made it illegal to transition until adulthood, and one Republican state upped the age from 18 to 19. And remember those privacy laws? The citizens are now being told to report anyone under 18, this is in red states, or certain red states, to report anyone under 18 who might be transgender or be receiving gender-affirming care, and to report all parents and legal guardians who might support such a thing for anyone under 18 or in some cases 19. It was also made illegal for anyone under 18 and in some cases 19 to leave the state to seek gender-affirming care, okay? This was criminalized. Their parents can be prosecuted, criminally charged, and thrown in prison if they leave the state to get their teenager gender-affirming care. And I'm not even talking about surgery. This is the same law they initially used against women, making it illegal for them to leave the state to get a quote-unquote abortion, even though, again, their definition of abortion now includes even life-saving medical care to women. These red states allowed citizens to report and sue anyone who aids women in a supposed abortion, and even people in other states. They're allowing cross-state lawsuits now, thus crushing doctors and other citizens under financial debt and trouble if they try to help these women and these girls. Now these laws are being used against the transgender community, and soon, if the Republican threats are valid, against interracial couples. Some states have mandated that women should be forced to take a pregnancy test before leaving the state. Yes, I'm serious. Other states have requested menstruation or cycle trackers to track a woman's cycle so that they know if she missed a period. Okay, don't tell me you give a damn about freedom and oppose, and that you oppose a surveillance state or a police state if you would allow this. Just remember, you have to live in the bed you make, okay? You have to lie in the bed you make. When you allow these things to happen to others, you allow them to happen to yourself, okay? At some point, this is going to come full round to you. Some states have made it illegal to miscarry and conduct a criminal investigation every time a woman miscarries, okay? And since it is sometimes impossible to tell how a miscarriage came about, and women under fascism are almost never deemed innocent until proven guilty, they can end up in prison. And in states that have decided that abortion is murder, and the charge of murder comes with capital punishment, these women can be executed for miscarrying. When they say that we are anti-life, they're lying, okay? They are lying. When they say they are pro-life, they are lying. Understand what we're fighting for and against. Also, some areas in red states have banned roommates. This, while the price of housing increases, as does the cost of living, though salaries have not increased, and the Republicans refuse to implement living wage. They lie when they claim this is about saving babies, but shouting that lie over and over again is all the propaganda they need to trigger the uneducated masses into bending over for them. That said, it's getting harder and harder to just sit here while so many others are grouping up to fight against this. All I can do, it seems right now, is create vlogs to talk, to spread the word. But I would rather be out there fighting with everyone else in real time. If you are already a target of a surveillance program like COINTELPRO, like Zerzetzung, okay, of this type of warfare on human rights activists, if you're already being surveilled, maybe try and contact me. It might be a little difficult. I can't guarantee I'll get any messages, and I can't guarantee that you'll receive any messages I send, but maybe try. I obviously can't join any group of people that aren't, any group of people who aren't already being targeted, because that would further risk their lives, and it would also risk their ability to fight this rising fascism. Because, if the fascists who are hunting me, follow me to them, that would expose their plans too. I mean, that would expose the plans of the people in the group. But for those who are already being targeted, I guess what's the worst that can happen, right? The perpetrators hunting us will join together and have a party? What are they going to do, For those of you who are planning on going out and protesting or organizing some other event to try and fight this, to try and fight the rising fascist, theocratic state, please be careful. Okay, whether you contact me or not, please be careful. There will be provocateurs there whose only purpose is to provoke you into violence. I've been targeted long enough to know how this works. They provoke and then they report. And then you're made to look like the aggressor. Also, check your state and make sure that if you're going to take some item with you for self-defense, it is legal in your state. The last thing you need is to get caught carrying an object that you thought was legal, but was not. When they are looking for an excuse to demonize you, they will use anything they can. Try not to give them one. If you are against fascism, we are allies. Know that. If I could be there with you, I would. And in some cases, maybe we can work together, depending on who you are, right? If you are already being targeted, and my being there won't add any more risk to your group, well, maybe we can join together in this. Anyway, that's all. Take care.